Hello students, your teacher here, and in this video I am bringing you how to compare fractions, and there are three different methods. The first method for comparing fractions, and what I mean is finding, which one is larger. Are they equivalent fractions? Is one greater than the other? Is one less than the other? The first method is the same denominator. The second method is making the denominators the same, and the third method is using the decimal form. So I'm going to show you an example of each. When we're using fractions, you'll hear me say words like numerator, denominator. Remember, numerator's in the top, denominator is in the bottom, okay? And we're using symbols like greater than, less than, and equal to. All right, so in our first example, if we're comparing fractions and they already have the same denominator, then all I need to do is look at the numerator. Whichever numerator is larger is the larger fraction. Okay, so 5/9 has a larger numerator than 4/9. So 5/9 is greater than 4/9. Now, visually, I want to give you one more representation, okay? So imagine you have, let me see here. And then I want to, okay, sorry about that. So I have these two identical rectangles. You can see my lines aren't perfect here, but in the first rectangle, I'm going to shade in 4 of the blocks. And in the second rectangle, there are 9 empty spaces. I'm going to fill in 5. Well, you can see clearly 5/9 is greater than 4/9. All right, second method is making the denominators the same. So if you have two fractions with different denominators, then the goal is to find the least common multiple of the denominators. Okay. So let's do that first. Let's go with multiples of 6. So 6 times 1 is 6, 2 is 12, 18, 24, 30, 36, 42. And I'm going to stop there. Now I'm going to come over here and do 9. So 9, 18, 27, 36, 45, 54, 63. What is the smallest multiple that they have in common? That's going to be 36. All right, so now my question, what do you multiply 6 by to get 36? And the answer is 6. So we multiply the numerator and the denominator both by 6. And when you do that, you get 30 over 36. Now let's do the same thing to the second fraction. Well, what do you multiply 9 by to get 36? And I just happen to know that you multiply 9 by 4. Okay? And whatever you do to one, you have to do to the other. So we multiply the numerator and the denominator by 4. And when you multiply the numerator, you get 28. And when you multiply the denominator, you get 36. Now that the fractions have common denominators, we can use the same method as before and compare the numerators. Since 30 is larger than 28, then I know that 30 over 36 is greater than 28 over 36. And the last method, decimal, there we go. And this method is really simple. it's very, I think, when you're not really performing operations, and even sometimes when you are, this can be more efficient, faster. And if you have a calculator and your teacher lets you use a calculator, then you can just divide, because at the end of the day, fractions are just division problems, right? And if you know how to divide one by hand, that's great, but I'm going to let you use a calculator. If you divide 3 by 8, then you get 0.375. And if you divide 5 by 12, you get 0.416 repeating. All right, so now we got to compare these numbers. Now we're comparing decimals. This is a little bit easier because we can use the place values. So we're going to first look at the tens place. And the tens place, on the left, I have a 3, and on the right, I have a 4. Which one's bigger? Well, 4 is always bigger than 3. So 5/12 is greater than 3/8. One thing I do want to mention, though, really quick, is if these were the same, then I would look to the next number. Which number's bigger? And if those were the same, then I would look to the next number. Which number's bigger? I am your teacher. This is the way. Is converting to a